Next up, we have AmyTarkanian, former state GOP chairwoman. Amy, great to have you with us.
Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry I don't know if you're running kids to school or whatever you're doing this morning, but as soon as this news broke that Paul Ryan was not going to be running for re-election, I wanted to get your take on what that is going to be meaning, not only for Nevada and the GOP, but for the country and the Republicans maintaining control of the House.
Well, I think that this does not come as a surprise. A lot of people, as soon as the president was sworn in, were already speculating that this was going to happen. A lot of times, the speakership is used as a transition between two eras. So it's not a shock. Of course, now we're hearing behind the scenes Kevin McCarthy, Steve Scalise, and, interestingly enough, we had our own congressman here from Nevada, Mark Amadei, who actually spoke up and said that he had heard that Speaker Ryan was not going to be rerunning, and then everyone was trying to
poo-poo it.
And
he broke the news.
No, that's not true, but turns out it's true.
Yeah, he broke the news, and nobody is listening. By the way, we do have a call out to him, but haven't heard back yet. But everybody was trying to slap that down, and I'm kind of curious. I want to ask him how he knew. Somebody must have said something to him. Rumors popping up that he wasn't, Ryan, filing paperwork for re-election. As you know, this is what you do for a living. When you're not filing your paperwork and you're the speaker, that says something.
Yeah, no, it would be interesting to find out. But, come on, when you're not on the floor, a lot of times the House members, they're at events, they're, right. Having drinks together, chit-chatting about other things rather than work. So, he very well could have just heard it in a very relaxed atmosphere.
Relaxed meaning martinis. Now, the next question I have for you is...
You never know.
You never know, because that's when everybody lets loose. Who do you think... my favorite is Steve Scalise, mostly because I worked with him before, and I wouldn't say I worked on his campaigns, but I had him on my radio show in New Orleans so many times because he ran a whole bunch of times because of runoffs and things like that. And I think he's a national hero. He survived. I think he'd be a terrific speaker.
I would agree with you. I do know Steve Scalise as well. He actually, in the last congressional race that my husband ran in, he supported my husband and also did a fundraiser for him. And then when the president had his inauguration, he and I were on the same flight. He's just a very kind man. He's a sharp man. I'm pulling for him. Now, of course, I know Kevin McCarthy as well. I adore his wife. We're going to be okay either way.
Yeah.
So it's fine. And Paul Ryan, quite honestly, he was the youngest person to serve in that role in 150 years.
Yeah.
So, the guy did a good job. Now, there's always people who are going to complain about certain things not getting to the floor and, not being able to round the cat.
Well, that's typical.
It's a tough job.
That's a tough job, and it happens nationally. It happens in every state house. You don't get everything that you want. There's always somebody who's going to be complaining. And finally, too, I think it's really important that both Kevin McCarthy and Steve Scalise have a good rapport with this president, and the president needs allies at this point because he's got a rough and rocky road ahead no matter what. He just simply does.
Yes, no, absolutely. And it seems at this point, and I don't know where they were at prior to President Trump becoming actual President Trump rather than candidate, but it seems that both of those folks are on board. So I think we're going to be fine.
All right. And by the way, any fears at all that the Dems that the Dems are seeing this as a weakness on Paul Ryan, that he thinks that he's not going to be able to hang on to the majority? Is there any fear with Republicans here in Nevada that is going to be a problem? And no spin, Amy. Seriously, with these numbers of the president and what he's been doing with the tweeting and all of that business and this investigation, is there a fear still that things aren't looking too good for Republicans to maintain control?
I don't want to call it a fear, but I will call it a concern.
Okay. That's honest.
I don't want to say, we're fearful, but
right.
Yes, obviously we are concerned. And I'd be lying if we said otherwise. And I think that the Democrats would also be lying if they didn't say that they weren't concerned. Everything changes so quickly every hour.
You're telling me.
Between the FBI investigations and then
Syria.
Syria, and who's the bimbo? That Stormy.
Bimbo du jour.
Yeah, I mean, it's, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? So I think everyone's just kind of bracing themselves, just trying to make sure that they're focused on the agenda ahead, and then, we'll see where the chips fall.
Well, it's nice talking to you in person again. Well, sort of on the phone, at least, just not on Twitter. So shout out to Danny now, since I always gave you a shout out. Former state GOP chairwoman, Amy Tarkanian, thank you so much for coming on the last minute. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Have a great day.
You too. 7:52. More breaking news coming up for you here on